What up, everybody? We're back. Oh, well, hello there. Welcome into the often imitated, never duplicated, original, live, unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, commercial-free San Jose Sharks podcast that is the Pucknologists, back to wrap up, 3 weeks of Sharks hockey, I guess, after what had happened. So do that like and subscribe thing. Leave your takes in the comments section if you're not with us live in the super chat, if you would, please. And so what had happened was the Sharks... despite having the lead in every game, somehow figured out a way to go 0-2-2, remain 32nd in the standings, and have collected themselves one win in their last 15 games. After 61 this season, the Sharks have 15 wins and 39 points. And to put that in perspective, last season, after 61 games, the Sharks also had 15 wins and 37 points. So, this season, if my math is accurate, is 2 points better. And yet still on track for the number one draft pick. So, we're going to talk about 4 games that happened this week. And also tonight, we have the trade deadline just a week away. A Kovalenko joke provided a lot of clickbait. The ratings for the Four Nations tournament proves that all-star games are pointless. NHL TV ratings, however, overall on a downward trend. And the Barracuda finally strung together 2 wins. And we're also going to ask the question, should I buy a gamer jersey or an Audi A3? So let's start this with the game in Calgary. And as you can see, we got Puck Guy riding shotgun because, Ian's still searching for his bag in Ottawa. And Jules has a birthday party to celebrate with some friends. So,
yep.
So Puck Guy was my third and only choice this evening.
Sorry.
All right. Last Sunday at Calgary, it's a 3-2. Everything just for all of you people that you're like, did they lose every game by 1 goal this week? Yes, they did. So if you want to go start watching something else now, feel free.
Oh.
So. The things that stand out for this, Dellandrea gets sucker punched, gets called for holding. I don't understand how this goes, but Dellandrea post-game says, it was a tight game. I thought we played well, but not well enough to win. That's kind of a theme this week, by the way. We've got to tighten some things up and let those goals not go in our net. Clearly, he goes to the hurdle speech therapist. But we executed a lot of things we wanted to do. Just a late goal in the third. Do you understand how many games those post-game comments would fit? At least 30.
Yeah.
It was a tight game. We played well, but not enough to win. We have to tighten some things up. We can't let those goals in our net. We executed a lot of things that we wanted to, but we gave up a late goal in the third. Hello?
It's just painful. I mean, to be that close in some of these games, I mean, kudos, they're making it competitive. I mean, there were times last year where they are just getting thoroughly dominated, including the third period. This isn't a 1-year thing. This is a multi-year thing. I mean, kudos to them for making it competitive, getting points in 2 of them. But, oh my God. I get it. A lot of you are on Team Tank. I am as well. I would love for us to get the number 1 pick, but you know how demoralizing it's got to be in that locker room right now to keep going through and having being Groundhog Day all over again.
I go back to some provocative comments that I made a few weeks ago that a few people took me to task for. I said, so I don't remember the exact quote, but I had said something along the lines of, it's borderline more embarrassing to lose so many games by 1 goal than to lose back-to-back 10 goals. give up 10 goals in back-to-back games. Like, those are, you can shit the bed a couple of times. But to lose, to be this close so many times and not be able to, law of averages would tell you that you're going to win these once in a while. One in the last 15. That has, I don't care what any player says. And I know that Shane in the postgame sometime this week was asking, like, I don't remember what the quote was. I'll paraphrase Shane. How the hell do you wake up in the morning? Like how do you stay positive and get to the rink every day when it's just like the night before? We almost had it. We almost had. This is
Right.
the hockey equivalent of blue balls.
You're not wrong.
I mean, dude.
I mean, it's and how many times have we gone through it over the years? It's like that teaser goal to get back into a game. We haven't gotten to that. We have like a third like I'm on this team. The Sharks have either that lead going in and just can't hang on to it, or like in this case for the Calgary game on last Sunday night, they come back to tie it. Nice job, Tyler Toffoli. And then just a breakdown or a turnover leads to something that eventually gets them the L.
Oh, man. It's just tough. Molasses thing. Yeah, it's easy to get up in the morning when you make hella money. Yeah, no, I get you.
You right.
I get you on that. Yeah. All those zeros are probably pretty comfortable to sleep on. I feel that. All right. We move on to the Winnipeg game, which arguably was the closest of the entire week and is the one that probably hurts the most. Winnipeg on a 9-game win streak. The Sharks have yet to win in Canada. This has all the makings for a 10-goal give-up from San Jose, and instead they had the lead until 26 seconds were left in the game. And this one had a couple of interesting notes. I mean, you had another amazing no-look pass from Celebrini, but bullshit officiating. Which is something that was kind of a theme the entire week. It was the same crew as the game that officiated Calgary, which, as I stated, had the little, Delandry got sucker punched, throw him in the box. But Celebrini absolutely interfered with, no call. I mean, this week I thought Drew was going to pull out the 3 hairs he has left. He was getting pissed. And it's kind of annoying that in pro sports, officials never have to answer the bell or be accountable for a bad performance. But, dude, the second game of back-to-backs on the road against the top team in the NHL, an impressive performance in Vanacek playing this one.
Absolutely.
Like, trade me right fucking now. And you get Hellebuck pulled in the final 2. Morrissey ties it with 26. And Vanacek was screened. There's nothing you can do about that.
Oh, no.
But it was just kind of like, I'm like, well, are the Sharks going to lose another game in which they had the third period lead? And it was like, Marv Albert, yes! So everything centered around this game. It was all about who the hell is Warsofsky starting in overtime? Because
God.
Scheifele won it 93 seconds in, but you went with Graf, Wenberg, and Ferraro. And I got to tell you, I was like, who, what, and where? Like, what are we, what? And
Like,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that's like shades of, what was it, Matt Nieto and Nick Bonino a couple of years ago.
Well,
And
dude, when I saw that line put out there, I was screaming. I'm like, Warsaw and Bugner tried this. It doesn't work. I get like the idea. Hey, if we can just tire out their best line for 45 seconds and then flip to our best line, we can. And sorry, puck's in our net. Bye-bye. And then to see Warsofsky be like, honestly, if we're going to be frank here, just downright snippy with Shane when he was questioned about it, and he's going, what was your idea going with Graf, Wenberg, and Ferraro? And he's going, did you watch Wenberg tonight? And it's like, yeah. And I watched Celebrini too. Celebrini was better. Like I would have, obviously Shane can't say that, but goddamn, I would have loved to see him do it. I mean, I can understand starting Wenberg for the draw. And then if you win possession, immediately flip to Celebrini. But I have to ask, why the hell is Ferraro out there over Wallman? You know, and again, Quinn tried that, Bugner tried that, and it was just as successful. And I'm not here to start the fire Warsaw chants. I'm just saying, dude, you are not helping dissuade others from breaking out pitchforks when you make questionable choices like that and then show contempt for the media when they dare question the choice. Like, dude, they're doing their job just like you're doing yours, Ryan. Dial it down a hair. And Vlasic said post-game, against the Jets and the Flames, we had 2 good games. In addition, against the Jets, we arrived at 3 a.m., and it was our second game in 2 days while they were rested. It's positive not to get down 8-2, 8-3 in every game. We have to continue in this direction for the last few games. I mean, on one hand, I'm kind of like, well, that sounds like a lot of excuses. You know, we arrived at 3 a.m. It was our second in 2 days. They were rested. It's like, dude, you 26 seconds away from the worst team in the league beating the best team in the league. You got nothing to apologize for. I thought it was a very impressive, like, that's a low bar if we're celebrating, hey, we didn't get blown out 8-3. Hey, you know, like, come on. I think they played a great game. It was just, you know, if the game, I know if ifs and buts were cherries and nuts or whatever the phrase is. I mean, if the game was 59 minutes, you would have won. Right. You know? So I think that's the game this week that you can really hold your head up about and say, hey, man, we're not that far off. We just need that one little thing. But, man, that would have been something else. And that would have been the win that you could have hung your hat on all season. It's like, hey, you know,
big time.
It was not a great season, especially, after following up last season and everything. But beat the best team in the league in their own barn. Like, that would have been cool.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was such a good, solid game. It just turns out to, a blind shot beats them, and then the momentum is switched in overtime. It's like there's so many good things to talk about. It's like, frick, you guys lost this one. Oh, we're right there. But I think we've said that most of the time this season.
Well, and again, it just would that loss hurt less if Warsaw starts Celebrini, Eklund, and Wallman?
Right.
Or if he starts Celebrini, Wenberg, and Wallman, because Wenberg, face-off specialist or whatever. And the funny thing is, as we move on to the next game that went to overtime, that is who he started.
Right.
So Georgiev is back in net in Montreal, and Montreal, barely a 500 team, only 3 wins over their last 10. And what is it like? What was the record? Like the Sharks haven't lost there in like 10 years or something.
Yeah, the last time they had lost was in 2015.
Yeah, so perfect time to to lose one. I don't know. Is this the last time we see Marc-Edouard Vlasic play in Montreal? Wearing a Shark sweater?
I think he's got one more year. He's got.
That doesn't mean he'll get a start next season.
True. But the sentimental, experts will say otherwise.
I could see Vlasic saying, "Okay, look, you can scratch me for 81, but play me in Montreal." You know what I mean?
He makes his money either way, but yeah, I mean that the Montreal one is special for him.
Man, so they blow another lead. Sharks failed to draw a penalty in this one. I think that's only the second time that's happened this season. On a positive note, Smith continues to improve, and finally the cries for him to be sent down to the CUDA finally dissipated. I was waiting for that to happen. I also liked what I saw from Graf and Mukamadulin on this, but dude, Georgiev gonna Georgie and allow 4. Dude, if I'm the Sharks, I'd play Vanacek with the hopes he stands on his head all week, and then some team comes knocking with a trade offer. And then you let Georgiev guide you to the worst record in hockey.
Right. The tough part is that with Askarov out, I mean, who are you going to call up, Romanov? Or are you going to get a goaltender in exchange to finish out the year, kind of like, Cooley? That's a tough part of it.
Dude, get Carrier in there. Carrier looks fine. Get Dell. What's Aaron Dell doing? He's not doing nothing.
Sit in the
I think,
in
dude,
the
I
hallway
say,
next to you or
dude,
Wichita.
let Dell sit on the bench. You just ride Georgiev into the ground for the last 20, dude. Just ride him into the ground. Oh, man. I do wonder, though, if Warsofsky was influenced to start Celebrini, Wenberg, and Wallman in OT after the reaction he got. But game 60 for the Sharks, 31st game decided by 1 goal. And
Dear Lord.
Sturm, post-game, on frustration from another close loss, he said, we've had 25 of those games this year where they're decided by 1 goal, empty netter. When you do the math on 25 games, you win half, maybe grab another few points in overtime here. You're in a whole different world in the standings.
Yep.
And if you've listened to this podcast with any regularity, you would be saying, Nico, stop reading off AJ's sheet. Because I've been beating that drum since Thanksgiving.
Right. I know you've mentioned it. I'm almost certain Ted Rainey's mentioned it on his show. I mean, that's the painful part of it. It's like you're that close where half of those, you're fighting for a playoff spot. And then everybody's butthurt because, oh God, we might make the playoffs.
Molasses is saying Dell's on an ECHL, AHL contract. I don't care. This season is just sign him for 20 games. He can just to warm the bench.
Can we upgrade him?
It's fine.
Like we did Colin White?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Finally, we end up with the game in Ottawa yesterday. Vanacek back in the net. Ottawa 2-1 faves at home, but they come in on a 5-game losing streak. And I got to tell you, I was just kind of like, okay, this will be the one, right? They'll get the Ian bump because Ian's live at the game. Bagless and doesn't have anything Sharks to wear, but hey, he's there.
Yeah.
And more shitty officiating. And again, this podcast,
oh God,
we do not rail on the officials often on this podcast, but goddamn, this week, were they just making it real difficult.
I thought Stützle played for the Canucks in 2011 the way he played, then
was he biting fingers?
Well, no, he was just having a nice time diving for the Swedish diving team. It just was ridiculous, some of the stuff. And then you see Will Smith has a puck, clears it out of the zone.
Oh, the interference.
Blatant interference with Jake Sanderson. And I'm like, really?
Dude, Drew lost his shit on that one.
Oh, and I don't blame him for it. I was losing my shit on that. And then later in the show, we'll talk about another one that happened for the CUDA the other night. Like, God, come on, guys. Like, really? Really? We're calling that?
Let's see. Falcon Strike saying Cunnin, Sturm, and Ferraro have trade value. They do, but Cunnin is not helping his value. We'll get to him in a little bit. I have some things to say. So post-game, let's see. Ferraro, we're right there, but the margin for error is so small. I don't want to compare it to last season, but at the end of the day, it's not good enough.
Is it like we're talking election results? It's like we're not there yet, but we're getting close.
Well, the thing I think is so funny is I don't want to compare it to last season. You mean the season that you played where you have the exact same amount of wins after the exact same amount of games? I mean, and a lot of the same type of, ways that you're losing are similar to last season. I mean, I get it. You want to move forward, but oh man, this is like this is a 164 game season. That's what we're playing over these last 2 years. It's just one long season. Wallman post game says it's tough to stay positive. I bet the losses eat at you sometimes. At some point, we have to turn the page. There's a lot of areas we need to find that extra gear. It won't be like this for long. We can't get stuck in this lull. And when I heard that, I said, it's already been kind of a long lull, has it not? I mean, one win in 15 games. That's a long lull.
You have 4 wins in the calendar year, and 2 of them came off the first 2 games of 2025 with Tampa and New Jersey.
Yeah, and like games that you should not have won, on paper, like those were like really okay, interesting. In Tampa, was that in Tampa? Right? No,
No, it's
it was
home.
here.
It
It
was
was here.
home.
But still, beating Tampa, it's like really what? But
I-
22 blown leads. That was the lower third under Warsofsky during the
God.
post game. 22 blown leads. And Warsofsky post game, some bad bounces, some preventable ones. Again, I'll take quotes you could have after every single NHL game for 500.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's last season the Sharks lost 36 games in which they led. They lost 14 of them when leading in the third. And this season has been worse in that category. But a lot of people are like, well, at least you can say the goal differential is better. But is it? And I'm going to ask you that question because currently the goal differential is -73. They've given up 73 more goals than they've scored. Now, last season, after 61 games, you might want to get a pen and paper. It was -107.
All right.
So that's pretty significant. If
Yeah.
I'm mathing correctly, that's 34.
Yep.
Right. Or no, I'm sorry. Is that 34 or 36?
You said -73 and 107.
Yeah.
Yeah. 34.
34. Okay. I mathed wrong
Good
at
job.
the beginning. I was close. So either way, they were 34 worse at this point last season. Now remember though that 17 of that 34, so half of that number literally came in 2 games. Vancouver and Pittsburgh, right? I got that right, did I?
That's fair. Yes.
Vancouver.
That's 20.
Well, no,
'Cause
because they
with
scored
10.
3.
Oh,
So
well,
it's
fair. Yes.
-17, right? So
Okay.
half
My
of
bad.
their dash came in just 2 games. Now, last season, here's the part that's really going to have the math wizards are going to have fun with this. Last season, through 61 games, the Sharks shut out their opponent once, 2-0. This season, also once, the Sharks have shut out their opponent 1-0. So that's kind of a wash. But
Sure.
last season, the Sharks were shut out 9 times by a combined score of 31-zip. This season, the Sharks have only been shut out twice by a combined score of 6-0. So through that lens, I don't know if the difference in differential is that significant. It's a debate for the end of the season.
For sure.
But-
I mean, just to be,
It's
unless
something
they
to chew
get
on.
shut out.
Yeah.
Unless they get shut out 7 out of their last 21 games, which, dear Lord, I mean, a little progress. I mean, I know we're gasping at straws at this point to find some positivity as you go into next season. And obviously, again, like you said in the room, with all the struggles to stay positive through this thing, anything would be great.
I'm telling you. Just when I started going through those numbers, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. All right, time for stock up, stock down, and let's see for the boys. I got a few names to call out this week. I mean, Will Smith, dude, has settled in. He seems to have figured it out. He's staying hot. 5 points in 4 games this week. I don't know if him not being recognized at that Warriors game just like lit a fire under his ass, but dude is just like, oh, you're going to remember my name, despite the fact that he shares, a name with like one of the biggest actors on the planet. But anyway,
Right.
It's, dude, Smith just on fire leading the charge this week. And then Celebrini right there as his wingman, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points, 4 games, the only 2 guys this week that were a point a game or better. Then I'm also going to call out Muka Madulin. Dude, 2 assists plus 3, gaining valuable experience. Anytime you can get on the positive side, I think for this team is it's worth noting, even though we know plus minus is a bullshit stat. And then Vanacek, I mean, dude, 2 starts. You posted a 909 in 2 starts with this group. You performed so admirably against Winnipeg. Like, holy crap. To post that number against the best team in the NHL, stick taps for you,
Hell
my
yeah.
dude. Do you have anybody else that you would give a little fur to boys, a little applaud this week?
I mean, absolutely give it to Will Smith. He's been on a run since they played in Boston. So I don't know if there was a magical clam chowder or something going on.
You
I
got a
think
little bit of that home cooking.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, that the extra clams in there, that works. It's better than the stuff at the Cheesecake Factory. And there's
I'm
that.
going to take Will Smith to Sam's Chowder House. No free ads.
Oh, yeah, no free ads, of course. He's had like 3 goals and 7 assists since that Boston game. I also give out some love to Colin Graff. I thought he's been progressively getting even more better at playing two-way hockey. Or as they say, play the game the right way.
Yeah. We're putting a moratorium on that. I don't want to hear that for the rest of the season. I'm so tired of that quote.
No, but I mean, Graf would be the other one. I mean, you got them all. Vanacek, absolute stick taps for that game in Winnipeg. You feel bad for putting up such a performance, a tradable performance, perhaps you could say, against one of the best teams in the league and get nothing really to show for it. You go for that. I mean, it's tough because you see these guys and it's like you're right there. You give love to Tyler Toffoli as well. I mean, I think he's played for every team on this road trip except for Ottawa, and has made a difference so far.
Chief likes playing in Canada.
Yeah.
And Jesse, we're going to get to your question in just a second. Don't think we haven't thought about that. Stock down. The officials. This is
geez.
For the second straight Pucknologist. Again, we do not call out officiating here very often, if at all, but missing a blatant boarding on Celebrini in Montreal after missing a clear interference from Lowry versus Winnipeg. I mean, if those plays happen to McDavid, the Department of Player Safety is handing out fines. Yeah. There's at least 3 missed calls in Ottawa. So, I mean, officials, get it together. My other stock down, the third line of Goodrow, Cunnin, and Delandria. 2 games this week he played that line. They were outscored by the 4th line. Like they had no points. The 4th line had a goal and 2 assists.
No, and you hit it right on the head. That third line's been a struggle too. Makes me want to say, why isn't Ethan Cardwell up right now?
I'm still to this. Is somebody check the numbers? Has Goodrow played every damn game this season?
I'm looking.
Somebody please get. And if he has, why? I do not understand why Goodrow continues to not see a game from the press box. I don't.
Unless he was injured.
No. That Chief
he's played 56.
So did he miss 5 from being injured or some shit?
I want to say yes.
Okay, that dude needs a healthy scratch. Well, I don't care who you want to call up. Cardwell. Who was the cat who had a hat trick tonight? Gushin. Get Gushin up here. I mean, give me somebody. I am tired of that. I would, I would sit the lot of them. Goodrow, Cunnin, Delandria, and just for a week, just start, Bordelot, Gushin, and who's the other kid? Cardwell.
Hey, we might be a week away from that. Who knows?
Yeah, that is true. Wouldn't that be nice? And so that was my point to what was mentioned earlier about Cunnin having trade value. He's certainly not helping his case. It's not been great. Now, and I get it. A lot of stuff that guys do doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, but I'm just saying that lineup, it's almost like they make, we saw Joe Thornton make guys like Ekman or Mark Smith or Chichu a better player. I swear to God, I don't know if it's Cunnin or Delandria or Goodrow, but it's like one of those guys makes the other guys that they're with worse. Right. They never put together those 3 guys again on a line. Stop it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll add on another one for stock down, conditioning. I mean, that might be a little bit of the issue here. I mean, with these guys just falling apart in the third period.
They had to take their little curling, game. They had to go out and do that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, these guys.
Who was the other guy, by the way, who did that? There was some other. Yeah, there was some other coach. I don't know. I don't think it was Bugner, but there was some other coach that was like, "Oh, we're going to do a curling trip."
I thought it was Ron Wilson. I might be
Christ,
wrong.
was it that long ago?
It might be RW. I think it was around the time where we were, baking a cake, and we don't have all the ingredients and stuff like that.
Yikes.
Yeah, I want to say it's that, but I mean, the conditioning. I mean, that's probably part of the thing. You're getting run around, and even in the Ottawa game, I think when the Sharks had the lead in the second period, you saw Ottawa turn it around. But then in the third period, Ottawa just went off. They had legs. I mean, of course, it helps that you got three guys back, including Brady Tkachuk, to finish off the Sharks. But at the same time, you're struggling to keep up with it, and it's got to be partly with the legs, and then getting stuck out there for at times a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I think I forget who the D pair was on Saturday night, but it's like they were out there for over 2.5 minutes and can get off the ice, and what happens?
Hold on, what the hell is going on in the chat? What is it? Have you ever went curling, AJ? Why do you hate curling, AJ? I didn't say I hate it. I'm just wondering
Curling's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why we're, like you're talking about, like you need conditioning, we need practice and stuff, but it's like, no, let's just go curling. But you know what? I appreciate you guys doing that, because I didn't say a bad word about curling, but immediately it's, why do you hate curling? You never fail to just restore my belief that social media is just like the most toxic thing on the planet. Like, I didn't say anything. You guys intimated it, and so now I'm noted. I got to update my Twitter bio. Noted curling hater. I'll have to add that in later.
Oh my God.
Let me see what else we got to get to. All right, Calder watch. All right, I saw Jesse's comment earlier.
Yep.
About that sucks. I thought I'd highlighted it. I'm sorry, Jesse. It was a good comment, and I'm glad, and I wanted to get to it, but of course I can't find it right now in this. Hey, retype it, would you? But anyway, basically asking, if I remember correctly, like, is Celebrini a lock for the Calder? No, I wouldn't say that at all.
Doesn't help that you get posterized by Cole Caulfield in overtime in Montreal.
Yeah, Caulfield lighting him up didn't help, but that's what, and to do it there. It's not like it happened in Anaheim. You know what I mean? It had to happen in northeastern Canada. But, I mean, dude, Hudson right now, 44 points in 59 games, 0.75 points per game as a defenseman. It's, on a very mediocre Montreal team. But Celebrini, 44 points in 49 games played, 0.90 points per game. So he's 0.15 better, obviously, if I'm mathing correctly. But it's like Hudson plays on the East Coast, in Canada. Celebrini's out west on the worst team. And I'll admit, like, Celebrini is getting a lot of love nationally here and there. I have a feeling like there's been a lot of talk, like, we haven't seen these numbers since Nick Lindstrom, and again, plays on the East Coast, plays for in the Canadian market. City. I just go, he might fucking sneak in there and take that. He's gonna get, railroaded the way Couture did from Skinner.
I mean that, or you throw in Dustin Wolf, who plays in a Canadian city, in the Western Conference.
They never give that shit to goalies. Give me a break.
Or yeah, never. I feel like I can't think Nabby was the last one to win the Calder, right? There's got to be somebody else.
You better look that one up, my brother.
That might be something. Okay,
Lacey, look that shit up, man. When's the last time a goalie won the Calder? But I do want to ask the chat this along with you. If you were to redo the 2022 NHL draft, is Hudson going first overall? Which, oddly enough, would still have him in Montreal.
Hey, they got him in a better deal in that case. I mean, yeah, absolutely. A guy who has an offensive edge with good defensive prowessness. I mean, sure, absolutely. Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry. So since Nabby won it, two goalies have won it. Andrew Raycroft in 2004 with the Boston Bruins, and Steve Mason in 2009 with the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Man, did that career fizzle out like a fart in an elevator. Didn't he have like a ridiculous season and then sign like some fat contract and then he like went on the witness protection list? Yeah. Hold on. A guy and his dog saying Hudson is going to win it. Also saying Celebrini lower body injury day to day. Really?
Yeah. He didn't practice today.
Shit.
He's likely a game time decision for Monday against Toronto.
1 pound fish man saying, "Watch it, AJ. Watch? What did I do?" Oh.
They're having fun with you, dude.
All
You're
right.
good. You're good.
Everybody's trying to wind me up. They're like, "Oh, it's clear he's had at least 2 colas. He's wired with the sugar. Get him."
We are not going to talk about the quarter century team, so stop it.
Oh, no. If anybody brings that up, you're going to get booted for 5 minutes. You're going to get a timeout. So who's your money on right now? If you have to bet, like you're given, you have to, if you want to throw Wolf in the mix, that's fine. But I'm saying, it seems like the smart money. It's like Hudson versus Celebrini again. Yeah. Celebrini, a forward playing on the wrong coast for the worst team, but still posting .90 a game, or the defensive guy who's posting numbers we haven't seen in over a generation in in an Eastern Canadian city.
I mean, trying to put my teal tinted glasses aside here. And of course, obviously I'd put, divvy up the money between the two, but I think you're going Hudson right now.
Yep. I'm in the same boat, unfortunately.
I mean, I'm waiting for, I would love for Celebrini to play Monday, Toronto, have a hat trick. That'll shut up a ton of people.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
I mean, because I know even Mitchkov is getting, doing some flashy things, and I just have a feeling that might take away from some of Celebrini's luster for playing, two-way and pulling up the points as he's been doing.
Oh man! All right.
And AJ, let me do one sound effect for you, my friend.
That's not for me. That's for Jerk.
All right. Well, Jerk, that's for you, along with your Thunder Buddies jersey.
And
back to you, AJ.
Lacey saying he also thinks it's going to be Hudson. So I mean, we'll see what happens. But and Marty saying Hudson is a nicer story, honestly. Hey, F you.
But you're right, Marty. It's been a nice story for them for Montreal, but hey, Sidney
you know
Crosby
what? It's been a nice story. He doesn't play for my team. What do I care?
That's true. That's true. But like I said, Sidney Crosby didn't win the Calder either. So and he worked out all right.
Nikolai Kovalenko made a joke during the downtime. About Warsaw not liking Russian players on a Russian podcast. He made this joke. And because the translation was evidently lacking, taken out of context, as most quotes usually are,
right?
The U.S. media has to sensationalize everything for engagement's sake and waste all of our time posting clickbait articles. I'm telling you, dude, Ian could be on here and say, whoever says Canada sucks is an asshole. And the quote would be, Ian says Canada sucks. That's what it would be. So I don't know, this is going to happen in perpetuity. But it was to the point Warsaw was compelled to respond. There are no issues whatsoever. And of course, even if there were, what else is he going to say? Fuck those Ruskies? You know what I mean? Like, what else is he going to say? But just
if you talk about clickbait, holy crap.
But I just, yeah. Like, and I would never say fuck those Ruskies. Warsaw says fuck those Ruskies. That's what it would be. But just the fact that Kovalenko made a joke on a Russian podcast, translation is different. And of course, some of the people from the U.S. media go, ooh, they're like that Tom Hanks gif from You've Got Mail. Well, let me just type this clickbait article real fast. Like, come on, be better, media. I'm begging you. So stupid.
So what you're saying is be careful with the questions we ever ask if we get some players on here?
No, at this point, it's just kind of like, you know what? Maybe just stop reading media for a while. Or maybe just subscribe to The Athletic and that's it for now. Or you just or you just look up all the people that put out articles about that. Like, does Warsaw hate Russian play? And then just unsubscribe from those people. You know, it's like, oh, clickbait. I'm just so sick of it. Anyway, I have so much of a better rant to get to. I don't want to go down the clickbait hole. Fun fact tweeted this past week, and this kind of ties along with the Calder, the thing that we were talking about earlier. Macklin Celebrini, as a rookie, has more points than Timo Meier, Bo Horvat, Kevin Fiala, Claude Giroux, Steve Stamkos, and every forward on the Canucks. And Macklin was injured for a month. That, for me, should have gotten tweet of the season.
I mean, they're not wrong, and that goes to help his cause. I mean, let's be honest here. That should be shoved down everybody's throat for the next 2 months, as we get to nominations. I mean, obviously, that goes to show you how great Celebrini has been and how this team has improved, albeit slightly, as to how he's been playing and how this team has kind of improved a little bit and making a difference. I mean, to have a guy, talk about Timo Meier, you traded for. That was a Sharks pick. He gone. Bo Horvat,
Oh, that was the guy that
Islanders
Rocket wanted forever.
Oh, yeah. And the entire Vancouver Canucks. My God, dude. The likes of Besser and Elias Pettersson, among others, who
I just go back to like last August, September. There was such hope in Vancouver. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
They were just like, we're going to be right up there with Vegas and Edmonton and blah blah blah, and right off a cliff. Unbelievable. Somebody asking how many Russians do the Sharks have? Aside from Askarov, I don't really care. I wanted to say thanks to Brody for including us in his Sharks podcast series last week. It's about time he got some real names on there. Come on. Although I did like his thing with Vlasic was goddamn funny.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Vlasic is a guy that I could see. I don't think he'll care to do it. But goddamn, he would slot in really nice as a color guy. But I don't think he wants to watch his mouth as much as he would have to. I think.
Oh my God!
But I think he would be great. Could you imagine the Scott Vlasic podcast? John Scott and Vlasic would just be spilling tea all over the place, and I would be here for every episode of it.
And remember, this is going back 20 years, but remember how quiet and shy he was? I mean, I remember an episode of Shark Bite where Craig Rivet was going like, oh, I got mad at Pickles, one day, and he hasn't talked in like 2 weeks now. So, getting back to the Russians currently on the Sharks, you have Klim Kostin, Kovalenko.
Might have been a rhetorical question.
Yeah, and Muka Madulin. I'm just trying to deliver the accurate information.
Chernyshev?
Well, I mean, with Saginaw right now, but.
All right, but anyway, yeah. Thanks to Brody for including us on that, and evidently we might be doing a follow-up, so we'll see what happens with that.
Awesome.
Trade deadline is next. It's Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord. So
this Friday.
Well, that is the next Friday.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Is there another one coming up that I'm unaware of? So. When it comes to pieces to move, The Athletic had a great article on this that was like, okay, the ones you're not even thinking about, so don't bother asking. It's like Celebrini, Askarov, Eklund, Muka Madulin, Smith, Zetterlund, don't even bother. And then we have the move them or at least seriously consider it, which I think is silly. I'm not going to move them, but I considered it seriously. But Mario Ferraro, we keep hearing this guy's name in trade talks. Guy has one more year after this, 3.25 cap hit. I don't know who coined this. I think most of us are familiar with the phrase shit or get off the pot. And they have a hockey version of that, which is shoot or get off the point. That was the best part of reading this article, to be honest. But the 26-year-old D-man is evidently available. I just don't. It's so weird. You see some things spoken about him, and it's like the guy just has a motor who doesn't quit. He's a ball of positivity. He will block shots that other people won't. He does a lot of things that don't end up on the score sheet. And conversely, there are people that are in chat rooms and comment sections that are going, I don't understand how this guy is still here. He sucks. So, I mean, what's your take on Ferraro?
I thought Florida would have been a perfect fit for him until the Seth Jones trade happened yesterday. I think, and it goes for a lot of the guys we're going to talk about. Greer has a price. He's set that price, and if somebody wants to grab it, go for it. But I think he stays because, after all, he is the pseudo captain of this team.
Especially with Granny gone now too.
Exactly. I mean, so it's tough to say if to move. I think for him, it's a matter of if you get a good return from a team, then he'll go. If not, I think they're more than happy to keep him around.
Well, and he'll be available next season at the deadline because
it might be more lucrative then.
Yeah. We're going to have to see. The other name, of course, being Cunnin, which was mentioned earlier. Again, I don't think Chief is helping his cause as of late, but he, according to The Athletic, has been an example setter for the Sharks. And one of their 4 assistant captains is, he's a grinder. I guess, every team loves to have a little more grit, if you will. He's FA, right? After this? Yeah, so get him out the fucking door.
It's one of those tough guys that, sorry for saying it, plays the game the right way. That just looks all desirable. Ooh, okay, let's grab him.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, if you can get anything for him. See, Jan Ruda, I mean, who knows if he'll even be back before the deadline? So I doubt that that's going to happen, especially at 34 years old. I think he's over.
I'll laugh when he comes and plays on Saturday against the Islanders.
Jeez. Yeah, just in
I'm fully healthy.
Yeah, and it's like, the deadline was yesterday, asshole. And then Nico Sturm, who seemed to be this week completely probably getting traded. Shit happens. I feel like he's just kind of like, dude, the boxes are already packed. Just tell me what flight to book.
Right, and that's got to be tough emotionally for these guys. I mean, yes, you're moving to another city, town, climate, and in the rumorville. I mean, the guys like Cunnin, Ferraro, and especially Sturm, who I think he's almost resorted to the fact, I'm gone. They're like, okay, it's like, can you guys, should I get off the pot already? Let's just move this along here. I mean,
okay,
or just drop me off in Colorado after the game on Thursday.
Hold on, let me see. 1 pound fish man says, let's put some money on it, AJ. Sharks won't make the playoffs till 2032. Can I just give you my address now? You just send me the money?
Oh.
Dude, you're going to tell me they're not going to make the playoffs for over 10 years? Give me a break.
Dear Lord, hope not.
All right, probably not moving, but not out of the question. Kovalenko.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't move him just because, I mean, he's the right age at 25. He's, I like his game. I like what he's got. I'd like to see him compete. But yeah, he's got youth on his side. Let's see what happens there. Henry Thrun, though, on the other hand, there's just, I'm one of those cats who's kind of sitting over here going, is somebody going to outplay him? Whether it's,
right.
Cagnoni, is it Dickinson is just going to come along and destroy him? I'm just wondering how quickly he'll get passed up on the depth chart. Or is it a case of maybe because to me that's been the problem with Ferraro for the last couple seasons, is that he's being deployed at a much higher, area than he should be just for lack of talent on this team. I think if Thrun is played in a 4-5, that's fine. I don't know. What do you?
But yeah, I mean,
It's
you
a
look at
cheap
the same thing.
contract through next season, so again, shoot or get off the point.
But I mean, who's going to come and take his spot? Are you going to get another defenseman in the trade? And if so, is that defenseman better? I don't see Thrun moving, especially with
No, it says
another year
probably
in term.
not, but
Yeah, I can't see it again. Maybe next year if that. But the Sharks need some defensive help, either in return or get called up, and I don't see anybody getting called up from the CUDA right now.
Yeah, well, at least not for a week. 1 Pound Fish really wants to bet me some money. Dude, hit me up on Twitter. We'll come up with something, man. Then it says, can't see them moving. All right. Liljegren, Toffoli, Wallman, Wenberg, agreed. And then I love, should move, but probably won't, / or can't. Georgiev, yeah, nobody's taking him. Goodrow, with this team, can't even scratch him. I don't understand what's going on there. Costin, God, I was so rooting for that guy for the longest time, and it's just, I don't know. Talk about shoot or get off the point. I would give him, what's Costin's deal? Is he here for another season? What's his...
I'm looking it up right now as you were talking about it.
And then the other, of course, being Vlasic, because nobody's going to take $7 million. It's going to pay $7 million for a 37-year-old guy who cannot crack the lineup of the worst team in the league regularly.
It shows that Costin is arbitration eligible after this season, so he's an RFA this year.
Okay, so the Sharks have the option. All right. I don't know. Again, that's another thing where I just sit there and go, is he going to get blown by on the depth chart? I don't know. Finally, it says a trade wouldn't bring much. Dellandrea, Dewar, Grunstrom, Vanacek. Yeah, it wouldn't. And most of those guys you can just let walk at the end of the season, so who gives a shit? And then can't move, and they wouldn't do it anyway as Couture. Yeah. We're aware. No, yeah. I can't remember the last time I saw somebody trade for a guy who's never going to play again. Oh, wait a minute. Where did all those contracts end up? Was it Arizona?
Arizona.
Where it was like, hold on, don't tell me. I want to say,
you can do this.
Yeah, hold on. Give me a fucking minute. Oh, God.
Don't say anything, Chad.
Was Pronger there? Was Pronger one?
Pronger was one.
And then wasn't there like, was it a guy from Tampa, I want to say?
No.
Who's the other name I'm thinking of? It was Pronger. Oh, not Datsuk.
Yes.
Holy shit. Okay. And Pronger, Datsuk. Like I remember they were like, if these guys still played, Arizona would be a wagon.
Right.
Yeah, shit. Who's the other one? I know there was like
the guy who was allergic to his equipment, Marian Hossa.
Oh yeah. Jeez. God, that was so much fun. Anyway, so it's going to be real interesting to see how this trade thing goes up, especially with after seeing Seth Jones traded by the Blackhawks, and it's like, oh, suddenly Schaefer is an option for Chicago should they get first overall. That's a kick in the balls. Anyway, what are we going to do?
It's going to be interesting because it's been fairly quiet, and then that Seth Jones trade, along with the Gus Nyquist trade, it's like, you guys are like waiting. No, not yet. Okay, all right. Let us know. How about now? No. Okay.
All right. So we're gonna do giveaway, but I'm gonna save it for next week. But I'm just going to. This is one of those things where we're what's the thing that Jerk hates? We're announcing. We're doing an announcement. Is that what it
announcement?
Yeah. So anyway, join us next week. I have this pile over here.
Oh boy, you and me both. I have a bunch of piles of stuff I need to give away.
So, and I haven't decided yet, but in this box right here, is a holiday inflatable.
Oh,
that may be included. We've got some signs here, some Sharks Territory signs that were signed signs. I mean, Zetterberg, Bordelot, Gushin on this one. So some pretty good. Mario Ferraro, get it now before he's playing somewhere else.
before he joins the Leafs.
Yeah, maybe I should give this out now while he's still here. But anyway, that we have a Cuda hat that was the giveaway on opening night this season.
Nice.
We have a Sharks hat from some other interesting event.
Nice.
We have a Sharks viewing party koozie.
Huh. Interesting.
We have a This is Jumbo Territory sign and one of those magic puck giveaways that they did for Jumbo.
Yeah, but for the boys.
And then we have a Sharks shirt that they give away at viewing parties. In other words, I went to a viewing party and you're going to get all the stuff they gave me. Yeah. But how about a reverse retro scarf? That was one of the giveaways. How about the Sharks, the hockey jersey?
The rugby? Yeah.
Whatever the hell this thing was. Anyway, giving that all away during next week's show. So I just wanted to announce that. That's going to be a giveaway. I'm working on the question. And so here is the thing. I'm not jerk. I will not sit there and like look at my email every day and collect all the responses. And Honey Badger don't have time for that. So we're just going to ask a question. I already have the question, but I need to confirm with Eric what the actual answer is.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll do that, and I will have that question for you next week. So we will do the giveaway live. So join us live next week. The first person that answers it in the chat will obviously win it. And pro tip.
I thought of another one.
Pro tip. Oh, there's also going to be a Hawaiian shirt in there too. I forgot. Maybe more than one. But the pro tip, if you're Kevin Lacey, he'll tell you. Maybe next week, and we love you guys on YouTube. Absolutely. Please watch on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Maybe also watch on Twitch. I heard that Twitch gets the stream a little quicker. So if you want to get your answer in first. Anyway, what does that say? Is the puck in XS? I don't even know what that means.
Extra small?
Dude, pucks are one size. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, that magic puck is a little bit larger than
a regular
standard puck. Yeah.
Anyway, so look, I'm just saying we're going to do a big giveaway next week after I determine what the right answer is. So let's move on to what happened around the NHL. 4 nations. All right.
Oh, boy.
Canada wins. Oh, that's right. Oh, I knew I'd forgotten something. I was going to wear my Canada jersey tonight. Anyway, Canada wins in OT. Would have been nice to see Canada get called for those hella dudes penalties, but hey, great game nonetheless. Who cares?
Oh my God.
The takeaways on this, of course, being that the 4 nations, World Cup, Olympics, it really just highlights the fact that all-star games suck. They're just gimmicky jokes when it comes to the actual games. All-star games just need to go away. That said, the fanfare was a blast. So I would just say, you know what? Just name all-stars during the awards ceremony, but do a rotating fanfare. Or maybe you just make the fanfare. What if, okay, here's something that's going to bake your noodle. What if every team did a local fanfare to begin the season every year?
Mm-hmm.
I would think every city has like a local convention center or something where they can have interesting interactive stuff where you shoot pucks and all the stuff that they had at the fanfare in 2019. So cool. You get what is it, Tops, or I don't know who the hell does NHL cards, but whoever does it, where you can make your own card.
Oh yeah.
Plus you have stuff out there for sale, gamer stuff. Like maybe you also make kind of like you have like whatever's left over from the equipment sale. You know what I'm saying? You get that out there, but you make it like a big way to start off the season every year. You hold a big fanfare for every team. Get rid of the all-star game already. Guys don't show up. They don't try. What's the point? It's to soak fans and jerk off sponsors and corporate dollars. We can find a better way to do this.
I think it's the latter more than anything. It's the corporate sponsorship of the whole thing. To get the All-Star event, you have all your top stars in. You gotta find a spot to do that. But I'm with you. I think a fanfare or league wide. I think the Hawks have like they call it a Blackhawks convention.
Yeah,
I mean,
do it.
that's it. I mean, that'd be great. I do like the Sharks doing a tour around the Bay, getting around to others, but I think you can do both. I mean, that'd be fun.
Mm, no, forget the tour thing. Like, I understand what you're trying to do with that, but nope. I say you do like a 3-day weekend, or or just a solid 2-day Saturday Sunday thing that's
Right.
around the start of camp and all of that. It's to me, and you can still do maybe you do some sort of low, because I see Chris in here says just do the skills competition. You can do a localized skills competition, and you could make that part of the awards thing the following season.
So I heard a couple of ideas here. I like the skills competition. A lot of the Canadian teams do that. Of course, they don't want their players getting hurt while they're doing a breakaway challenge, which I get. But what if you were to do like night one of the draft, and then day two of the draft is the draft, and then you stick around and do a skills competition after that?
Maybe. Either way,
because
it's
because that day two is done. I think, and Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong. We were done by like 11:30 on that Saturday morning for the day two of the draft.
My point: all-star games are done. Just stop. Just Joey asking, would I prefer Schaefer or Misa? Oh, Schaefer, without a doubt. This team needs defense. So. Oh, and Chris saying like a division skills competition. Sure, I'd be down with that too. But either way, like, just get over the whole all-star thing. It's over. It's done. Ratings. So the NHL's best on best experiment, an embrace of international hockey in lieu of an all-star game, has been a massive success. Saturday night's matchup, Game 1 between the U.S. and Canada on ABC averaged 4.5 million viewers, peaking at over 5 as the Americans, like that's the team name, as USA won 3-1. Those numbers were on par with Game 5, 6, or 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. And so you ask, what about the championship numbers? ESPN averaged 9.2 million viewers for the Thursday ship for the Four Nations. It was the most watched non-Olympic hockey game on record. Across the U.S. and Canada, the championship game drew 16 million viewers, nearly matching last year's Stanley Cup Final Game 7 at 16.3. So I think we've found a winner. Now, let me immediately say, the reason why this is special is that it doesn't happen every goddamn year. Don't turn this into a stadium thing.
Right.
Where we got to do 5 a year. Don't run it into the ground. You make it special. One year you do Four Nations. One year, okay, this year we're going to do World Cup. Then we have Olympics. Then maybe we don't have anything. Maybe we just take a break or you come up with something else. But enough with the All-Star. But those numbers, chef's kiss.
Absolutely.
Problem is, the Four Nations reportedly did find, a recent report says NHL ratings are way down. And here's one that'll just, is this a kick to the smalls? According to Balin Breeze of Sports Media Watch, a Thursday game between the Sharks and Kraken averaged just 175,000 viewers on ESPN. It was the least watched NHL game of the year for the network and the lowest viewed program on ESPN for the entire day. That sucks.
Kind of wondering, how much they promoted it on there. Was it on during First Take? Was it on during, editions of Sports Center? Because I'm guessing not for a game that started at 10 p.m. Uh, on the East Coast.
10 or
I
10?
mean,
No, it's 10:30.
or 10:30. I mean, okay, but I mean, still, people are like, I'm waiting to watch LeBron highlights on Sports Center, and there's a hockey game on between two of the worst teams in the Pacific Division that we haven't heard anything about because you have Sidney Crosby and the Penguins and Alex Ovechkin in the Capitals and the Boston Bruins shoved down your throat all the time. Um, but also the question is this: the Saturday night game USA Canada was on ABC.
Oh, we're getting to that. We're getting to that.
Except for the Bay Area.
No. We're getting to that.
Okay, sorry.
My thing being is it's like I wasn't a big fan of the NBC broadcast, but at least I always knew where the damn game was. And it's easy to see ratings drop when fans don't know where the game is. Is it TNT? Is this one ESPN? Is it ESPN Plus? ESPN Online? Hulu? Max? Like, how do you grow this game when you make it more difficult for fans to find it, or you force people to subscribe to platforms that they wouldn't normally, or you implement blackout restrictions like, let's just stop, okay? And as you were saying, the biggest game of Four Nations outside of the championship game was between U.S.-Canada on a Saturday night, and it wasn't available locally in the Bay Area on the ABC affiliate like it was in every other market because our local affiliate, KGO, decided, let's broadcast live coverage of a Chinese New Year parade. So local fans were forced to buy and deal with ESPN Plus or do what I did and just stream it off a pirate site.
Arr.
But TV is about ratings and money. What does it say when they choose a fucking parade over Four Nations? They could have easily streamed the parade on YouTube. It says a lot about the Bay Area as a hockey market, if we're being honest. It's about ratings.
I concur. I mean, of course, the Chinese New Year parade is very traditional around here and very rich in history and everything. But let's also remember, this is KGO is a station that goes hard whenever they have a Warriors game on. I mean, hashtag Dubs on 7. I mean, that's just integrated in my brain. It's like Dubs on 7, Dubs on 7. You notice, I'm sure KGO could contact their buddies at ABC and ESPN. It's like, hey, can we get a Sharks game going on here? They could do that. I'm sure they could. I mean, it doesn't hurt them to have the Sharks being on like one game there, but that's the thing. And Kevin, I'm seeing the replay now, be promoted as only being available on ESPN Plus, and then they turn that out to be completely false. Yeah. And that's the other thing with this TV deal. You don't know if it's streaming or not, or if it's on TV or not. Or is it on ABC? No, it's streaming. Okay, well, I don't have streaming. I'm not going to pay an extra $9 a month for ESPN Plus, or the $20 that you got to pay on cable to get NBC Sports California. It needs to get promoted, and that's the thing with the Four Nations. You've seen what you can do. Promote the hell out of it, and get things going here, because you just can't be. You just can't just let it be and hope for the best. You're not at that point.
Let it go. Dude, either way, I'm not a fan of pirating stuff. I believe people should be paid fairly for their work. But if you're going to force fans to jump through hoops, force them to pay for games that were previously free, sorry, your complaints about fans illegally streaming games fall on deaf ears, especially when flying a pirate flag is actually easier than the options you're providing. And I sit there and I'm like, did you forget 20 years ago when all the music labels tried to create different platforms and the labels were trying to force fans to buy different devices in order to hear their music, whether it was like Press Play or Rhapsody or Google it, younger people. Go look at that. And then Steve Jobs came along and said, hey, assholes, this is how you do this, by the way. It's very simple. One-stop shop. Everything's a good price. Everybody's fine with it. Did you not learn from the debacle that the industry went through 25 years ago with music? They screwed fans by abandoning the singles market. They forced fans to buy full-length albums for one song, And then the labels and artists started crying in the club when the fans screwed them back by downloading songs illegally. So it's like you have the option to make something easy and affordable, or your greedy asses make the wrong choice nearly every time, and then you don't understand why the fans bite you back. I don't get it. Rob Iman here with the super chat. You demand. Shame on KGO for treating the Sharks like shit. Beal and Alvarez are uber warriors and 49ers than everything else. Who the fuck are Beal and Alvarez?
Larry Beal and Chris Alvarez are the sports guys at KGO.
Ah, see now, if I watched that station, I would know that.
I mean, both are very, very nice guys. However, again, imagine if the Sharks are really good this year, and let's say they were headed towards the playoffs and maybe playing a Stanley Cup final. I mean, they scramble to get guys for after the game during the Cup final. I think they had Randy Hahn on for a bit. I think they had Devin Cooley on, of course, with that great story. I think they even had Celebrini's dad on, after the Sharks had won the draft lottery. But, we can't say they aren't picking Celebrini right yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
I think it would also be a good thing for teams to do more watch parties, which the Sharks seem to be doing as of late. But you got to get local bars in the habit of having NHL games. I mean, I can't tell you.
And getting it on.
Yeah. How many times? Dude, most recently during this Four Nations, dude, I was at this barbecue place. It was Sweden, Finland. Started at like 10 a.m. locally. And I go to this barbecue place for lunch, and they had like 4 or 5 TVs. I don't want to say the name of the place because they actually have a spot inside SAP, so I think you can understand what barbecue place I'm talking about. But every single one of them was on a college basketball. And I had to ask dude, I'm like, hey, would you mind putting one of these TVs on the Four Nations game? And dude had 2 questions. Do you know what channel that's on? And what's Four Nations?
Boom.
And I'm like, oh, man. Yeah, you got to do a better job at this. So, let's see what else. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm about to go off. Deal with it, people.
Oh, boy.
NHL auctions. Let me ask you a question.
Oh.
Do you think 30 and I asked this to Eric as well as the chat. Do you think $30,000 is a reasonable reserve price for a Crosby jersey, a gamer? A Four Nations gamer? A jersey he wore in a game that they lost. Is $30,000 a reasonable reserve price? Like if someone doesn't bid at least $30,000, they're not selling it.
No.
Okay, then.
If he went off and had like, a Joe Thornton rooster trick, that'd be great.
Or maybe it was a game that they won. Like if it was the championship game, perhaps. So if 30,000 is seemingly unreasonable, what about 45,000 as the reserve for a McDavid gamer for the jersey he was wearing when they lost to the U.S.? And am I not showing you this, people? Let's put it up.
Oh God.
45,000 was the reserve, and it sold for 47.
Jeez.
And it was, again, the game he lost. I mean, are you kidding me? And Chris making my point as well. I wish I had $30,000 jersey money, right?
I wish I had $10,000 jersey money.
Yeah, this is just. Are you kidding? And I saw somebody else, Marty. Yeah, it says, if someone's willing to pay it, I get it. But I mean, you could buy a Lexus or an Audi for $45,000. I did the math. Okay, you could buy 2 business class tickets to London, a week's stay in a deluxe suite at the London Four Seasons, and still have more than enough left to pay for entertainment options the entire week. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. And I understand, like, some of these guys, if they want to treat it as a business investment, but I'll tell you, dude, for every one jersey that I see sell for more than what was originally paid to get it, I see 100 jerseys that sell for less. Just this past week, dude, a Celebrini Cali Fin gamer went for $10K. And if we're being super honest, these prices keep going up because the same group of people continue to pay it. It makes me wonder what would happen to the price if they all banded together and said, you know what, we're not going to buy any jerseys this season, just so we can show that we have an impact on the price. I don't know.
It's tough, dude, because if you have the money, I mean, that's your prerogative and go for it.
Exactly.
However, I look at some of even the prices on the Sharks Pro Shop, for game worn jerseys that they have. I'm sorry, $900 for a Cody Ceci.
Yeah.
When just a few years ago you could get an Andrew Cogliano for $500.
Dude, I bought a Brendan Dillon 25th patch. Black armor. Brendan Dillon had the 25 patch on it.
Yep.
$250.
I have a Christian Ehrhoff Reebok Edge 1.0 gamer. His first set that they wore, I got that for $50 because it was on the clearance rack for 3 years. And granted, it's Ehrhoff, but I mean, it's a valuable jersey because it's the 1.0 material, and he wore it in the first year of that. I mean, that's the thing. But now it's just like I'm almost looking at my jerseys and I'm like, I'm gonna miss collecting them because
who can
I can't afford it.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand.
I mean, it's getting to the point where, all right, and I know I talked to you about this off air, but it's like, at this point, there's no way I'm going to own a Celebrini gamer. So I'm glad that, we're making MICs for Fanatics, and I'm going to get that stitch from, Action Spot and put the jumbo patch on it, and I'm just going to be like calling it. I wish I could afford it, but it's just I can't. Yeah. And I don't know who can. And kudos to you for having the money to do it. So
yeah, I mean, I get it. The ones that I really have respect for, and I've seen a few of these people. There's one dude, and I think he's local. And again, I'm not here to like call anybody out or like name names or anything, but I'm pretty sure that there's one guy locally here that's like a massive Gregor fan. Like anything that's Noah Gregor, he's just like, and he doesn't care if it's Toronto Sharks, who cares? He wants Gregor shit. That I respect the hell out of. I saw somebody over the last week or so, maybe it was on Reddit or something, anything Anthony Stolarz. Doesn't matter what team I'm getting, from college to any team he plays for. Like, if you're down to collect the player, I respect it. But
or for me, I try to get my hands on anybody who wore 14 for the Sharks. The only one I'm really missing out on is Steve Bosick, and I know there's no way in heck I'm going to have that happen. But I have Weatherby who wore 14 or was supposed to.
And so you've got a thing about that number. So it's like that. Okay, I can understand it, but then if we're being honest, and hey, spend your money the way you want to, but
you do you.
Yeah, I just sit there and I feel like sometimes some guys they'll buy some of these players in the hopes that they hit, and then when they don't, they try to dump it for the same price that they paid for it. And I'm like, you're gonna take a bath on this one. You're gonna take
for anybody who has a Borderlo jersey right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And Joey asking me, am I happy with the Sharks' current jerseys, or they need to change it?
Oh boy!
Please stop changing them. Just stay with what you have for right now, for at least a decade, and then go back to the original one. Anyway,
hey, who knows? We might get that that white Heritage jersey next year. Who knows?
Oh, if only.
And I'm getting the text from Doug Bentz right now. Shut up, Eric. No, I'm kidding.
The other thing when it comes to these prices, the NHL announced an apparel collab. So another question, again, for the chat as well. How much would you pay for a cashmere sweater that had your favorite team's logo on it? I'll ask everybody watching as well. This is a question for you.
I mean, Puck Mom would love a Sharks cashmere sweater, but
For
the only
$500?
yeah, that's a no. That's a no. I think I saw a leather jacket for Four Nations that was like
A grand?
1,100. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
No,
I think I showed
not.
it
It
to
was in the Four Nations. It was the Chicago Blackhawk, the outdoor. Didn't
There
it?
was that one, but there was also another one for Four Nations that went for 1,100. I was going to mention it on last Sunday's show.
Good Lord. But I'm telling you, like, I mean, a cashmere hooded sweater. I mean, whew. So anyway, the NHL announced this week there's this Todd Snyder line of collaborative apparel. GQ evidently called him the most influential menswear designer of his generation. I am not in the Target demo because I've never heard of this guy. And that's likely because I don't spend $500 on sweaters.
Right.
But it did make me wonder, when do we get the collab that targets blue collar fans? Like, and I get it. Not everything is for everyone. Some people have to buy and wear status. It's like, you know, they have to purchase things that advertise to everybody. Look at how much fucking money I have. I get it. Ruben
Right.
saying the collab with Lululemon launches league-wide next season. All right, there you go. Some people loves them some Lululemon. I know Brody is a big
Brody.
Yeah, he's constantly on the I hope they're giving him some free shit for all the times he mentions them. But dude, I will. You know what you can also do? You can go to Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, and you can pick up jerseys for $20. You know what I mean?
Do you have one holding out for me, a Leafs jersey for $30? And we saw on Reddit that there were Sharks heritage jerseys for $100, which I think is very high for Marshalls. But I mean, still, $100.
Hold on. And Ruben's saying, great. AJ wants the NHL to collab with Carhartt. I don't know who Carhartt is. Again, I'm not a big label guy. I don't pay attention to labels. I like, if I see something, I go, oh, that looks cool. Does it fit? It does. Cool. I'll get it.
Yeah.
I don't really pay attention to who the hell's making it. But again, if you want to buy and wear your status, do you? I can't even wrap my head around the idea of spending $500 for a cashmere sweater. But if that's what you want, you spend that money. I get $500 burning a hole in my pocket, and I'm probably going, is there another guitar I can add? You know, we all have our vices.
Sherry, he's looking at guitars again.
Shut up. Damn it. All right. Let's get to the NHL agent poll. There was definitely some interesting questions and answers this week. I loved this. What is the area the NHL can improve the most? And I mean, I think we talked about some of it earlier, but on the playoff format, somebody said, I wouldn't mind them going back to 1 versus 8. Thank you. Can we please? Can we instead of the divisional stuff, there's got to be incentives to having a great regular seasons, same matchups every year in the playoffs. Magoo. Yeah, 1 versus 8. Please, can we get back? This whole idea that they're doing now, it was fun. It was cute. It hasn't been it was supposed to save on travel and all. It really hasn't. So can we stop? On expanding the playoff field. The league continues to grow, and it sounds like we're going to continue to grow beyond 32. I'm surprised owners haven't pushed for this for selfish reasons or whatever. Half the league already gets in. Do we need to expand that?
No.
Okay, then. Thank you.
I mean, I get why people are talking about that, and I know the NBA has kind of played like a 7 through 10, tournament to decide the last 2 seeds. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now,
Chris with an interesting idea: round robin, first round.
Ooh.
Oh, that would be a travel nightmare. But anyway, you were saying.
Oh, that was good. Well, that goes with that. Chris was saying that that kind of goes around with the people who are asking for 1 through 16.
Oh, see the idea I hate.
Yeah, no, I like 1 through 8. I'm fine with the current format. It doesn't entice me. I mean, how many times do we need to see LA Edmonton over again?
Yeah, see, that's
Or
my,
Tampa Toronto, or
and I understand they set this up in order to try to manufacture rivalries. And I think what they've done is they've proven that you can't manufacture rivalries.
no. They wanted to
So,
create divisional rivalries,
and
but
they
I mean,
failed. They failed. It didn't work. So let's go back to something that did work. That time, the stretch that the Sharks had, I fucking hated Detroit. I
right.
hated Dallas. I hated the Avalanche. I didn't give a shit about Anaheim until the late, aughts, because that's when the Sharks started seeing them. But oh my God, there was a stretch where it's like the St. Louis Blues can kiss my
Yep.
white hairy ass, because and that created that rivalry, because they were both good at the time, and it was but oh my God. Anyway, let's see here. I love that on player safety. My thing here is the inconsistencies with player safety. You think? Some things go unpunished, some things that don't. I can never get a read on what they're doing or thinking. Yeah, welcome to the rest of us.
Right.
Like, that whole thing needs to be scrapped and started over. And nobody who's been a former player should be involved in it. It needs to be a completely unbiased body.
Who would you say?
Uh,
Doesn't mean a specific name, but
I don't know. It's like I can't come up with something in 5 seconds, but give me a little time to think on it, and I will give you the right name to do it.
Okay.
But good Lord, decentralizing the draft. I don't care.
The teams wanted it, and hey, Gary, have fun getting booed at least 32 times in the first round.
Oh, he's not going to put him. They're not going to throw him out there. I think
yeah.
they should. You can't have him doing it out there. You got to put Daly out there. You're going to put some other people out there.
The prime example of what the NHL is going to do is the NFL draft. And who's the one who reads all the picks in the first round? It's Roger Goodell.
That's because Goodell has a huge ego. They can. There's a way. Hold on, isn't it in L.A. this year?
It is. It's at the Peacock Theater across the street from Crypto.
Okay, so dude, you're gonna tell me they're not gonna involve Will Ferrell?
Yeah, maybe in the 2nd to 7th round, or they'll do like they did here. But I mean, if everybody's gonna be at home,
they'll do something cool. They'll do something cool. There's a way that they can make this fine, and it'll translate well on TV.
I hope so. It's going to be a lot of money if me and Jules goes again.
Then they talked about like most unstable franchises, best run, easiest front office to deal with, blah, blah, blah. I could give a shit about that. A lot of that stuff is subjective. Although, unless you're the worst owner in the league, congratulations, Tom Dundon in Carolina. Let's see. What should Connor McDavid make on his next contract? And the overwhelming vote was 20% of the cap, which is probably going to be about $20 million. I mean, if they want to pay him, again, it comes down, you're worth what somebody's willing to pay you.
Right. But I mean, that's a lot, but I mean, well deserved. Where would Edmonton be without McJesus? Hell, they have a couple of McDonald's now called McDavid's up in Edmonton, and I think in his hometown of and I'm blanking on his hometown in Ontario, they're now McDavid's.
Oh, God. All right. Under the radar issue that should be addressed, this was really cool. The cap should be offset, or the cap should be set off. Who wrote this? Either way, they're basically saying that the cap should involve, some sort of sliding scale, those states that don't have state taxes or whatever. And of course, an agent said, I'm sick of hearing about this. Nobody was talking about state taxes 15 years ago when the Panthers were terrible. It's bullshit. It's not why players go there. They go there to win. Yes, you go
For sure.
to a place to win, but if you're going to tell me that taxes don't influence a choice, especially for somebody that's not making a whole lot of money, if you have the option, depending on where you're at in your career, the level that you play at, if LA wants to sign you for X dollar and Dallas wants to sign you for X dollar, and they're the same price and you're basically going to be doing the same job, do you want to go to the place with no state tax? Or are you going to go to the, it could be the last piece of influence to make you go one way or the other, is my point.
Right.
It's either way. The other thing was on travel, cross-conference travel and rivalries. I think they should add an extra in-division game or two in their conference rather than say Tampa go to Vancouver. That travel is so taxing and they don't draw well. What? They should add an extra in-division game or two in their conference.
I mean, I get that because
no. Where are you taking those games from? You're not. Are you saying add 2 games?
I think they're trying to say add 2 games.
That's stupid. They're not going to add any games. If they're trying to say, oh, we should take away some games, or instead of the Sharks playing in Florida and Tampa this year, they should play an extra game against LA and Anaheim. Like, what?
Don't take them away, because I mean there was a stretch of 5 years where Toronto did not come out to the West Coast. I'm sorry, no, they got to drag their ass out here. And I know Don Cherry had a big old conniption about it, and I think it was like 2003. Oh, I can't believe they're playing at 7 p.m. They should play. And then of course, CBC Hockey Night in Canada. Oh, we're going to schedule the Toronto game at 4:00 West Coast time. Who's that going to benefit? Gee, I wonder who. But no, Toronto or Ottawa or Montreal, they need to get their butts out there. We need to go, the Sharks, Ducks, Kraken, Golden Knights need to get out there over to the East Coast. I'm sorry, you're not taking anything away. I agree you should at least have a set number of division games against every team.
I wouldn't mind
in your division. But
I wouldn't mind Saturday games starting locally, like if Toronto's here, Montreal's here, whatever. If those games started locally at 4:30 or 1:30 or whatever, I don't have a problem with that.
You're just giving them the advantage if they're coming off of a road trip or they're coming into the start of a road trip. Oh, we don't have to adjust our clocks. We just have to play at practically the same time in our bodies.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more of it for a ratings thing. It would make a little bit more money that way. But hey, if you're a good team, we played 3 hours earlier than we usually do, so that's why we didn't win. F you. I don't want to hear that. And I'm so tired of hearing about the expansion thing. I'm just going to gloss over that whole thing. I'm so tired of that. But the one thing that I was a little bummed out about that I think should have played in more is scheduling. And when I say scheduling, somebody brought up in this agent poll, how is it that we have, a day where like 2 games are played and then the next day every team plays?
Team's playing.
Yep. Yeah, there'll be days where there's like almost nothing. Like and I get it. There's issues with building availability when the schedules are being done up. There needs to be a little more focus on that. But for me, and getting back to whoever was bitching about the travel and everything like that, then why isn't there a push to set up series? Why? All we heard about post-COVID was how much the players were like, yeah, this whole thing where you like set up shop in a city for a week and you play 4 games against the same team. That was nice. You can get acclimated to the time. You can knock out a bunch of games, and it builds up a little like, oh, I fucking hate those guys by the end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we?
I like the idea of it. I mean, we talked about this during that bubble year where we had multiple series of back-to-backs. That's all the schedule was. It's nice to have, and maybe that's something you do midweek, to entice. Hey, Nashville's here for a pair of games,
I
or
would
you
love
market
that.
it, or our infamous, L.A. Anaheim, back to back.
Well,
Make
you
that
you
like a week.
play
Hell, make a rivalry week
does
where
it?
you just have like a whole week where the Sharks play L.A. or Anaheim and Vegas all in one week, and
Yeah, but
Vancouver takes on Calgary and
that doesn't
Edmonton and
stop travel.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, but
No, but I mean it keeps them closer together. That's what I'm saying. You don't
you could
you
have
don't kill
that.
the travel, but you could stretch it out in some form. If you're not going to do the back-to-backs, that's a different way to do it, I guess. You can
I
kind of get around it.
I want to see series. You play the Sharks typically play the Central 3 times, right?
Yes.
And so it's obviously it's going to rotate. 1 year you're going to play 2 there. 1 year you're going to host 2. When it's your turn to host or whatever, just play them back to back.
Yeah.
Why have them come out later? Just when you do those 2, just have them be back to back games. That would save tremendously. And if you're going to, the Pacific teams, you see them 4 times, right? For the most part. This year,
For the
what is
most
it?
part.
Anaheim and Vegas are 3. The other ones are 4.
That's silly.
Well, yeah. And, I know Lacey put in here that talking about expanding to 84, which then would give them the option to do a fully balanced schedule. But, of course, if you do that, you're going to have to take away 2 preseason games, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. But
down the 4 preseason games, no big deal. I think year 1, the Sharks played like 9.
But if you're going to play every team in your division 4 times, there's no reason why you can't do it where, okay, it's first month, it's October, whatever, first month or between the start of the season and Thanksgiving, you play 2 games in L.A. A couple days later, you host Anaheim twice. Then you go up to Vancouver, play 2 games there. Then you go to Edmonton, play 2 games there. Go to Calgary, play 2 games there. And then towards the end of the season, you host Calgary twice that week. There's ways to do this. And, it would save so much on the wear and tear. It would certainly help out the West Coast teams.
Big time.
So, I don't know. Some of the answers were interesting. Anyway, if you have a subscription to The Athletic, I'd recommend checking that out. Some of the questions were like, what? But there were some, and some of the answers were like, man, that's kind of pointed. I like that. All right. So I'm not saying that like Eric had anything to do with this. I'm just saying that reportedly the Dangle podcast crew is rolling through at the end of March. Just saying.
I'm not gonna say that on Toronto After Darks, including the one tomorrow, we didn't go Dangle if you're watching, or I mean, let's be honest, they know about us. Adam was a guest when we talked to him after the Marlowe signing there. My girlfriend got me a Steve Dangle cameo in which he said he hosts a podcast called Teal Town After Dark. It sounds like hockey, but in underwear.
Nope.
So, and he's become a Dangle truther, or he's become a Shark truther per se. I think that happened when, what was it? When the Sharks had that crazy comeback against the Islanders and Red Wings last year. So he's kind of done it, but yeah. Dangle, Adam, and Jesse, along with the crew. Felix, I know you know a bunch of them, are coming out at the end of the month. So it's going to be interesting to see what they got. But I hear they have a busy schedule.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the Toronto game, a couple of CUDA games, so they're going to be around. I'll be interested to see if Brody is able to connect with them or if they make the broadcast in some way, shape, or form. So keep an eye out for them. Speaking of podcasts, recently fired sports talk dude, KNBR's Tom Tolbert, now has a podcast. So 2 things then. I think we can finally officially declare sports talk radio on terrestrial radio dead in the Bay Area because there are more former KMBR 95.7 personalities with podcasts than there are current hosts. And the decline, it really began for me when they stopped taking calls and engaging their audience, and they just focused on the same shit over and over and over. And the funny thing is that Tom Tolbert was quoted this week in an article that, obviously was promoting his newly launched podcast. He says, KMBR got to the point the last couple of years where it was ultra local. Niners, Giants, Warriors, repeat. And that was kind of it. And my response to that was last couple years? Try last couple decades? And, let me just quick side note.
Go ahead.
I called into 95.7 like the first year or so that they were on. So when was that? Like 2011, 2012, somewhere in there?
Yes.
And because I gave them a chance early on because I'd gotten sick of KMBR because, again, it was Niners, Warriors, Giants, rinse, repeat. And so I'm on my way to Twin Creeks for softball. Okay. And the afternoon guy is doing 3 to 7 or whatever. The afternoon guy is doing a segment. They were doing a whole thing that week. I think it was like the baseball all-star week where everything, where they're scrambling for fucking content because nobody's playing or anything. And they were doing a whole thing where like one day was 80s focus, 90s, yada, yada. And I call on the 90s day because a couple things popped into my head that they hadn't even mentioned. I was like, wait a minute. The Monday night game, Napoleon Kaufman's leg goes the wrong way and he's done. But Jerry Rice also broke the touchdown record.
Yeah.
And there were a couple other things that I had brought up, but I just remember the call screener goes, "Oh, those are great. I can't believe we haven't touched on those. We'll get you on as soon as possible." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Mm-hmm. And it was Townsend, right? Townsend gets sidetracked about seeing Pearl Jam at the Polo Fields, and is just fucking rambling. And the call screen with like, I don't know. I've been on hold because I'm even listening to this, and I'm like, yeah, I was at the same show. It sucked. Can we move on? The call screener comes back and says, "Oh, you know what? We ran out of time. Can you call back at 6:30 in the 6 o'clock hour?" And I was just like, the game will probably be over by then. I'll be on my way. Sure. I call back at 6:30. I shit you not, dude. Townsend is rambling about the same fucking Pearl Jam thing. And so I just hung up. And I'm like, this is why sports radio is dead. It hasn't evolved. Everything is segmented and topics are recycled. And you don't have to do that on a podcast. You can talk about something and then move on. And if somebody wants to hear it, you say, hey, rewind it. Like Ruben. Ruben's always coming in here 10 minutes late going, just got here. Can you start over? Or like, no, rewind it, pal.
Yeah.
Finally, before we get to that other team, I want to say, Season 4 has dropped. Shorzy debuted this week, and the funniest part, the first episode featured former Sharks player and mysteriously disappearing broadcaster Marty McSorley.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Dude, almost 2 decades.
Spoiler alert, though.
2 decades later, and still no one knows or will cough up the story of why he mysteriously vanished during the 2007 playoffs. I swear to God, dude. I have a phone number, and there's a part of me that desperately wants to call it and just go, can you just join us for 10 minutes and just explain what happened? Swear to God. But the other thing is noted pest and righteous asshole Sean Avery also
oh my God
on season 4 of Shorzy. And I gotta say, I'm not the biggest Sean Avery fan, but I'm kind of a fan. I respect a guy who just leans into being an asshole 24/7. I don't know if you've ever seen, like, for a while, I think it was his Instagram, it was just him biking through New York, fucking just railing on people in his way that were in the bike lane and just fucking shouting at people and like having little moments of blowing up and everything like that. And it was just like, basically, if you enjoyed me going off the rails a few weeks ago on After Dark and you want to see that on the regular, just go follow Sean Avery. That's all dude does. Love it. Anyway, yeah, see, here comes Joey. Hey, Jay, just got here. Can you start over and do everything you just talked about? Yeah, I feel you.
Well, the Sharks played four games so far, and I mean, they lost by 1 goal. There you go.
Yeah. That was the Sharks played a game and lost by 1 goal. There, you're caught up. That's it. Here we go.
Ooh, Barracuda.
All right, let's see if I can get through that because we only got about 15 minutes left. All right, the Barracuda. Whew, it's been a while. Gone for a couple weeks. Yeah, 5th place in the Pacific, and the Cuda played 10 games since the last time we were on. They went 4-6, and seemed like they couldn't string together back-to-back wins until this weekend. So let me hit these really quick. Played a pair against Colorado, 6-3 loss, a 5-2 loss. Despite scoring the first goal in a 3-point game from Bordelot, the Cuda gave Jacob McDonald a hat trick in the 6-3 loss to the Eagles.
Oh, that was painful.
Then, following night, Colin White had a 2-point night with a goal and an assist, but the Barracuda penalty kill allowed 3 goals on 4 opportunities. Then, Bakersfield, they got a win. Podorowski, Gushin, Cagnoni all post 2-point nights while Potsy delivered the game winner and Askarov stopped 25-28. You move on to San Diego. That is a 4-2 loss, despite Sabrin and Bordelot giving the Cuda a 2-1 lead after the first because the Sharks. San Jose allowed 3 straight. And meanwhile, former Shark Ryan Carpenter assisted on the first 3 San Diego goals, while another former Shark, Justin Bailey, scored the game winner. Both former Sharks were named first and second stars of the game, but
Pain.
yeah. Carrier did stop 28 of 31, so not too shabby. Then they would play a pair in Ontario. They would split this one because the Barracuda would allow 4 straight and Askarov would get injured. Then in game 2, the Barracuda would score 3 straight. Cardwell got an assist and the eventual game winner. Ontario got back 1 within 20 seconds on the power play. And then this is the game where Sabrin and Andre Lee were both tossed in the final minute with game misconduct. You'd love to see that. Carrier stops 23-24, gets the first star. Moving on to Coachella, 5-3 loss where White and Regenda or Regenda? I always forget.
Regenda.
There you go.
Think of Remenda with the G.
Yeah, but see, I think of GIF or GIF. You know, so anyway, they had 2 points each, not enough to make up for a 4-1 deficit, while Dell stopped 26 of 30. Then you have a 3-2 loss versus Bakersfield, where Bordelot would open the scoring with a breakaway backhander, which was chef's kiss. But in typical Sharks fashion, the Cuda would allow the Condors to score within 18 seconds, with 18 seconds left in the first to tie it. Cuda and Condors exchanged power play goals, but Cameron Wright got the game winner for Bakersfield along with the first star. Carrier stopped 37 of 40. The Barracuda were outshot 40-18. Oh. And in better news, a pair versus Henderson, both victories for San Jose. Romanov backed up Carrier, who stopped 26 of 27, begging that question, what's going to happen with Askarov? But anyway, Bordelot gets his first star with a goal and an assist. Podorowski takes the second star with the same stat line. Hool? Is that it? Hool?
Cool. And it's Carrier.
I'm doing the Canadian pronunciation. Carrier, like derriere, but with a C. Anyway, he got third with 2 helpers, and then the game earlier today, an overtime victory, despite doing everything they could to lose. Oh, man. First time since January they won back-to-back. They pulled it off. After being up 3-1, Cuda allowed 4 straight goals. He eventually gave up 4 goals alone to Alexander Holtz before Gushin would finish off scoring a hat trick to send it to overtime, where Cardwell would score the game winner 40 seconds in as Romanov stopped just 20 of 25. So I think we're begging the question, Kevin Lacey, you need to come in. Carrier. Okay, I got it. When he wears a Sharks jersey, I'll learn his name. What is going on with this team?
It's a freaking roller coaster, dude.
They cannot string together wins.
And they just fall apart. Why can't I think of it? The game where Askarov left midway through the first period. I mean, they gave up 4 goals
That was
on 14
Ontario.
shots. Ontario, thank you. But I mean, 4 goals on 14 shots, and then they score 3 to make it interesting in the 6-4, including a beautiful Luca Cagnoni play. But I mean, then you have lackluster efforts, and then you see what happened today, where they're up 3-1, and then next thing you know, it's 5-3, and you're going, what the hell? And then Gushin, gets 2 more goals to complete a hat trick after, and Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, Gushin wasn't exactly having the best game up until, the last few minutes of this one, and then Cardwell with a beauty. It's consistently inconsistent. They're taking penalties like, they're $300, authentic game worn jerseys at the Sharks store. It's like, oh, well, I'll take that one. I'll take that one.
I'd like to see them hire.
But they're hurt too.
I'd like to see them hire a different coach.
I
one with
agree.
some experience. But
I agree. But hey, the future is teal, my dude.
Well, and it's hard for the future to be teal if you're not going to install a solid coaching staff for that group that you're trying to make the future.
Very fair. Very fair. But how can I tell you if 4 Sharks prospects playing in the OHL on Friday alone had 10 points? Dickinson, a goal and 3 assists. Haltonen had 2 goals. Chernyshov had 3 assists. Musty had a goal. That was just on Friday. Then Saturday, Dickinson and Haltonen had a goal each for London. And then today, Dickinson with a pair of assists, Chernyshov with 2 goals and assists. I mean, that's beauty coming. You just hope that when they get here and they go and they play in the CUDA, that their minds don't get ruined.
Yeah, hold on. Nick saying you guys don't like Warsaw? No, we're talking about McCarthy, my brother. Just a FYI.
Gotcha. Yeah, like Kevin's saying, Gushin was crap for 57 minutes of the
game. This has just been odd. Chernyshov, though, I mean, dude is he's like averaging 3 points a game. It's I can't wait to see this kid come up, see what happens.
6 points over the weekend.
So this week the CUDA play 3 home versus San Diego before playing the weekend up in Abbotsford. And again, you got Jules, you got Lacey, Ian, all generally, and of course, Eric being a part of getting some gifts and stuff out for most Barracuda games. Not all of them. We do have a life, although you wouldn't know it from watching this. Coming up this week for the Sharks, they're going to play 4, finishing up their longest road trip of the season. Tomorrow at Toronto, Tuesday at Buffalo, Thursday at Colorado, a day before the trade deadline.
And that's an ESPN game, by the way, now.
The Thursday at Colorado.
Yeah.
Yes. Following Deadline Friday, the Sharks begin their longest homestand of the season, starting with the New York Islanders next Saturday. So, obviously, the game against the Leafs tomorrow could be a very tough one, especially if, the Sharks continue having the same exact luck they've had all season. The Sabres game, I think, could be very winnable. Both teams playing away games the night before. But then you get another tough one coming against the Avs. So I could, between now and when we talk to you next Sunday, Toronto, Buffalo, Colorado, and then the Islanders, I can see this team going 2-2. I can see them going 0-4, if history is any indicator.
Absolutely. And the Islanders might still think they have a playoff push, according to Lou Lamoriello. So,
yeah, we shall see. But the deadline, that's going to be obviously the big thing, and we're here for it. So I think with the exception of Wednesday, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because we're going to be on every day. And Wednesday, what's going to happen, of course, is Wednesday is going to be a day where it's Greer's going to make some sort of move, right?
Yep, of course.
Because it's after dark following Toronto on Monday, then in Buffalo on Tuesday. Greer got to make a move on Wednesday. Then you got the game on Thursday with Colorado. Then you got deadline day. And if Jules has any say, that's going to be a 5-hour show starting at 10 a.m.
Oh, my God.
And then you get the Islanders game, and then we're going to be here next Sunday. So,
Content aplenty, so subscribe.
Yeah, enjoy the week is what I'm saying, because good Lord, is there going to be a lot going on. Oh, man. So with that, any last words from you before we get the hell out of here?
I need to add one more hero. I did
Jules
send
for getting a goal?
Yeah, Jules got her first goal with her street hockey team, with the Bash. Forgot to mention it last night because last night's game was just frustrating as heck. So, Jules, congrats on your first Bash goal. Plenty more to come. See what happens when she gets playing time. She does crazy, amazing things. I'm just putting that out there. and Jerk, rocking your jersey tonight for you, bud. Go Thunder buddies.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Am I starting to see? Of course, I catch this at the very end, just as we're about ready to leave.
What?
Why wouldn't we just take Misa at first overall? So is there a whole thing going now, developing about Misa?
Well, I mean, Misa's been on a tear, dude, and it also helps that Chernyshov has been a part of it. So you could have that link between Chernyshov and Misa, or you get your defenseman, who's
again,
injured.
I said it when we were doing that thing with Brody. Like, I don't mind if the Sharks want to take a page out of the Giants and just, the way that the Giants, all of their winning teams, it was all the pitching, all the infield, all homegrown, developed, but then they store bought the outfield, a piece here and there, but
right.
That was how they. If the Sharks are just like, okay, we're going to, in a roundabout way, we're going to draft, develop Askarov. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, we're getting him, but he's really going to come up through us. We're going to develop him through Miller and Nabby and Spear, but we're also just going to bring in a parade of offensive weapons that those we're going to draft and develop, and then we're just going to have to go buy the defense. We've seen them do that before. I mean, the three of the biggest names for the Sharks on defense were all traded for. They didn't come up through the Sharks system. So if that's the way that they want to play it, so be it.
Yeah.
If it works, it works. And I'll be here to buy a ticket for the parade.
Parade will be awesome. And right now, I mean, there are a number of things that the Sharks need to do, but currently sitting at 69 million, according to Puckpedia, there's some room to do some defensive help.
Well, it feels like there's also
honestly,
some room to
overpay.
Can we take some bad contracts for some pieces?
We'll see.
So basically, it's going to be a really fun week through Friday just to see what the hell happens. And my only kind of complaint is, like, did Four Nations kind of put out the fire a little bit? Because so many moves happened prior to Four Nations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also here's the thing, too. There are so many teams in the race. I mean, you look at the standings right now, and, there's teams like Columbus, Boston, Detroit, among others in there. I mean, Ottawa, the Rangers, that are kind of in this limbo. I mean, Montreal is only 3 points out of a playoff spot. Philly is 4 points out. The Islanders are 5 points out of the last wild card. And Pittsburgh, I think, they lost today in overtime to Toronto, but I mean, they had gone off on 4 wins in a row. So
I like that the chat is just falling into this whole Misa versus Schaefer thing, and because we were actually talking about this just before we went on there. A guy and his dog saying Chicago will take Misa if they get number 1. See, I would agree with that had they not traded Seth Jones.
Yeah.
Now I'm not so sure. Not so sure about that. Well, it will be interesting. And Lacey's saying, agreed. Misa ain't going to be there at 2. Misa will be there at 2 if the Sharks get number 1 overall. Because they'll take Schaefer. We know it. I don't know. All right. So remember to like and subscribe. Help keep us ad-free by using that super chat option, just like Rob did earlier today. Thank you again for that. Obviously, we prefer Venmo. You can find us at Teal Town USA if you'd like to support the show. And you can find links to our social media, podcast apps, and more included in the show notes. Find everything on tealtownusa.com. And with that, it's the end of the weekend. Sunday night is over. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.